Bill Teegans.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Eddie Sutton Show. Since last we met, the Cowboys closed out the regular season with an 83-68 victory over Colorado. The Cowboys end up 21-8 on the year overall, 10-4 in the Big 8 Conference. But, Coach, March Madness, the greatest time of the year for basketball fans, has arrived with the Big 8 tournament starting this week.
Everything you've done in regular season is really in preparation for postseason play. We finished second in the Big 8. We had a very good regular season, but now everybody is 0-0. It all starts all over again, but this is an exciting time. You know, I don't believe that there is any more exciting time in athletics than the NCAA tournament, which comes up next week. But we start out with the Big 8. We got Iowa State Friday evening at 6 o'clock. They'll be a very worthy opponent because Johnny Orr is telling his ball club the only way we're going to get in the big dance is to win 3 straight games, and they're playing very well right now. So that's going to be a tough game. And, of course, if we win that ball game, then we will play the winner of Kansas or K-State in the semifinals.
It's such a great time of the year, so fun. I know everybody asks me about it on the street. They call you at the station. Do you have to worry as a coach about your team maybe being too psyched up for this time of year?
Well, I would hope they are psyched up. I don't ever worry about that. We can always tone them down. My biggest concern is that they get themselves to the magic level. But we've had some good practice sessions this week. You know, it's spring break, so the students are not going to class. We've had study hall for them, but we've been able to work out twice a day. We've been having shooting practices in the morning and then working out in the afternoon. And so I think our ball club is prepared to go into the Big 8 on a very positive and high note.
And again, the Cowboys coming off a victory over Colorado in the season finale. And when we come back, we'll take a look back at that Buffalo game. It was the final home game for 4 outstanding seniors. We'll take a look at that when the Eddie Sutton Show continues. Welcome back to the Eddie Sutton Show. The Cowboys closed out the regular season, as we said earlier, at home at Gallagher Iba Arena against Colorado. Kind of an emotional time for the 4 seniors playing their last game.
It's always very emotional and, from my standpoint, a very sad time because all of a sudden you realize, hey, here are your seniors, the last time you're all going to be together on your home floor. And you can see there are our seniors and our senior managers, Jimmy Nichols and Rusty Mercer, and their parents as we introduced them and honored them before the ball game. We started off strong here. We started our 4 seniors plus Bryant Reeves, and there's Brendan Manzer having a game he'll never forget. 16 points, just played outstanding basketball. And then having grown up in Stillwater, his dad's a professor here in our business school, it was a great thrill for him. Some of our other seniors maybe didn't play quite as well, but we did go out on a winning note. Kind of a strange game, Bill, in that we really blew out early on these guys, and I think we had a 17-point lead, and then we lost a little bit of our intensity. Plus, Donnie Boyce put on one of the greatest individual performances I guess I've ever had a player play against us. He had 46 points out of their 68. We held the rest of the team to 22 points, and he hit us for 46. There's Fred Burley hitting a shot. And I don't think he scored till there was about 9 minutes gone in the game, so I mean he really got hot late. At one point in the second half, he hit 20 in a row.
You know, the amazing thing, too, is several of those shots you had good defense on.
He had 17 field goals, and when we graded the film, I would say at least 8 of them were defended as well as you can defend. He just hit some tremendous shots. Great pass by Keani Roberts and to Fred Burley, and Keani had 8 rebounds and 8 points, had 3 assists, no turnovers, played very well. Good drive by Terry Collins.
Well, you like to get that kind of effort out of Keontae. Here's Boyce right here. This kind of shot he was hitting.
That's a tremendous shot. The shot was challenged, and he just knocked it down.
You know, you've talked, too, about the fact that Brooks and especially Randy struggling a little bit shooting the ball. Brendan comes in, and boy, couldn't come at a better time for him to start getting hot.
Well, our 2 senior guards, Brendan and Scott Sutton, the backup guards for Randy and Brooks, have really played well in this particular game. Brennan really came in and hit some big shots. As I mentioned, he had 16 points. He was 6 out of 9 from the field and 3 out of 5 from three-point range.
Great hustle there to save it. Brooks takes it in and scores.
You can see Colorado's playing man-to-man. We go inside to Bryant Reeves. Bryant led our team in scoring with 20 points. Also had 8 rebounds and only took 9 shots, so that's really good production.
There's Boyce connecting from outside. I thought maybe Country was going to hit a Missouri shot here at the half.
Well, that's just before halftime, and you can see we have a 10-point lead. They've pecked away at the big lead we had, and it does get closer. Good drive by Keontae Roberts. He misses very alertly, gets his own rebound and puts it back in.
You can tell that he's starting to feel much more comfortable.
Very good defensive play by Keontae. A good pass by Fred Burley. Fred misses, but Keontae tips the ball back in.
Nice.
Blocked by Bryant. Another block by Bryant. He had 4 blocked shots. And the one area that Bryant Reeves has improved this year is at the defensive end, blocking shots and just being a much sounder defensive player. His offensive stats are actually better than they were a year ago when he was the MVP of the Big Eight. This year, it looks like Booker is probably going to gain that honor. He has in the as far as the sportscasters, I don't think the coaches' player of the year has come out yet. It won't come out till Friday. I think that it's announced up there in Kansas City.
I think Country has almost doubled the number of shots he's blocked this year from last year.
Yeah, he's made great improvement and still has some room to improve even more. I think next year he'll be one of the 5 players, in my opinion, going into the season that will be considered player of the year. So if he can follow his senior up with what we've seen so far, he's got a great chance to win the Wooden Award.
Well, there's Boyce inside again. He had 15 at halftime, scores 31 in the second half.
He was amazing that second half, some of those shots he hit.
But Keontae, really, talk a little bit more about him. He's really coming on.
Well, he's played so much better. He's matured in a lot of the areas of the game and making better judgment in putting the ball on the floor. Earlier, he was a little careless and turned the ball over at times and tried to force plays, and now he's more or less letting the offense come to him and becoming a much better defender. There's a good defensive play by Scott Pierce, and Scott continues to play better and better. There's a nice penetrating dribble by Brooks Thompson and kicking the ball off to Pierce for an easy basket.
Now, Brooks hits this jumper. The great thing about him this year is when he has struggled shooting, which hasn't been very often, he's been able to spread the ball out and get it to his teammates. Really done a great job all year.
Well, he has a good ratio between assists and turnovers. And Brooks, we're very excited that he was second team all-conference in the sportscasters and sports writers all-conference team. He was first team voted by the coaches. He and Bryant both made first team in that poll, and we're very excited. We always tell our players that, the team comes first, but we always are excited for any individual honors that come our way. So congratulations to Brooks and Bryant. They both have had outstanding years.
Well, we all know that the coaches know more about the game than sportscasters anyway, Coach.
I wasn't going to say that.
Well, there's the end of the game, 83-68. So now it's time to start working again and get ready for the Big Eight tournament.
Well, as we said earlier, this is really an exciting time, and I think our ball club is prepared to go in there and play the Cyclones. The thing that always frightens you a little bit about Iowa State, they shoot the ball so well. You may stop Mikalik and Hoiberg, they're 2 top players, but then they have guys like Beecham and Carlson and some other folks, Hayes, that can come in there and really hit you. So I think the biggest key will be how well we play defensively.
Okay, we saw how Beecham did against the Cowboys, but Oklahoma State did sweep Iowa State, and we're, of course, hoping for that again. When we come back, we're going to take a look at Gallagher-Iba Arena. It means so much to the Cowboys. It's been a great place for the last 4 years. We'll take a look at some of that magic when the Eddie Sutton Show continues. Welcome back to the Eddie Sutton Show. Over the last 4 years, Oklahoma State has been virtually unbeatable at home. And in this week's Off the Court feature, Tom Dorado reflects back on some special moments this year at Gallagher-Iba Arena.
For the 4th straight year, more than 80,000 basketball fans made their way into tradition-rich Gallagher-Iba Arena to watch the Cowboys. And once again, they were treated to a banner season. OSU won 11 of 12 home contests in 93-94 and ran its Gallagher-Iba Arena record to an incredible 52-4 since Eddie Sutton returned to Stillwater. It was a year that produced its own brand of excitement, a year that provided its own set of memories.
Shot clock down to 5. Good hit. That's a 24-footer. Every away stolen by Collins.
beat the rest.
Sutton-led Cowboys are the offense of the Cornhusk group. Right now it's Oklahoma State with the ball. Right to Reed. On the baseline, some screening inside for an easy cross shot. Thompson for gives it back. Great pass from Manzer. Yes!
Great piece. That almost brings tears to my eyes because I'm going to miss Brooks and Brendan and Fred and Scott. They've really done a great job for Oklahoma State.
You're 11-1, finished up the season 11-1 at Gallagher-Iba, and we've talked so many times about how special that building is.
Well, it's been very kind to us, and I've had the fortune of coaching in some places that is extremely difficult for the opponents to win. Starting back at Arkansas, at Barnhill, I think we lost 7 games in 11 years at home, and then of course Rupp Arena, one of the big arenas in the country at Kentucky. We didn't lose very often there, but I really think that Gallagher-Iba is a special place and probably as tough as any place in America for the opposing team to come in here and win, and I just hope that we can continue that great tradition.
Well, we've got a lot to talk about here in the Eddie Sutton Show. As we said, the Big 8 tournament starting this week. We'll take a look at the brackets and obviously see how the Cowboys match up with Iowa State. All that and more when the Eddie Sutton Show continues. Welcome back to the Eddie Sutton Show. It is postseason time, Coach, awards time, and the Oklahoma State Cowboys did very good in the postseason Big 8 team.
Well, they did great. I think all of us knew that Bryant Reeves would be first team all-conference, and this was the sports writers and sportscasters' first 5. Brooks Thompson made the second team along with Crudup, Woodbury, Jones, and Hoiberg. 10 excellent basketball players. Then you look at the coaches, and Brooks replaces Donnie Boyce on the first team. So we're always excited when our individuals get awards like that. And Randy Rutherford, as I told him, your honorable mention next year, we want you to be an all-conference performer, and he should be one of the top players in the Big 8 next year.
Definitely has that potential. You know, obviously it was a good season for the Cowboys. We've talked about it, 10-4, the third time in school history that the Cowboys have won 10 conference games. So, again, it was a great season overall when you take a look at it.
It was a great season, and anytime you finish second in the Big 8, I guess you have to be very pleased because this is one of the elite conferences in college basketball. Missouri's performance this year was outstanding. I just didn't think anyone could ever go undefeated in this league, but they did. And in the 4 years since I returned here, we tied for first with Kansas one year. In the last 3 years, we finished second. So we've had some outstanding players perform very well, and we didn't win the round robin. That was one of the goals for the seniors, but now we've got a chance to go to the Big 8 tournament, win that, and that's another opportunity for us to do something that the seniors want to do. We've only won the Big 8 tournament one time, so that's going to be a real challenge. And there you see the brackets. Missouri plays Colorado the way they match these up. 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7, 3, 6, 5, and 4. And of course, Missouri should win that ball game. That other game is going to be a terrific game between the University of Oklahoma and Nebraska. And I think those are 2 teams, if they don't win the tournament, still have an outside shot at getting an at-large bid in the NCAA tournament. And of course, in the other bracket, we play Iowa State at 6 o'clock Wednesday or Friday evening, and Kansas plays K-State right after us. And then we would meet them, the winner of that game, Saturday afternoon at 3:10, and Missouri would play, if they beat Colorado, the winner of the other game in the first game Saturday afternoon. And the championship game, of course, 12 noon on Sunday. And right after that, everybody in the United States is going to be sitting around saying who's going to be in the big dance, because the pairings will come out at 5:30. And the NCAA Tournament Committee is meeting in Kansas City. In fact, I think they go behind closed doors Thursday evening, and you can't even reach any of them until after the pairings are made. Very conscientious group. I think it's going to be a much more difficult task this year to determine those at-large teams, because we probably have greater parity in college basketball this year than we've ever had before.
It seems like each year it gets more and more difficult, but I would agree that with the parity issue. Let's talk a little bit, Coach, about Iowa State. Obviously, the Cowboy fans know about the Cyclones. You've defeated them twice. That last game was really a tough one up in Ames.
Well, it was tough. We won by 2 points, and they're coming off a 25-point win over Kansas State in their last game at home. So they're on a roll, and Johnny Orr and his staff have done a remarkable job in pulling that ball club back together. You know, they were rolling in December, and then Meyer, their center, who was averaging about 20 points and 10 rebounds, was in an automobile accident and hasn't gotten back. But they pull that ball club together, and believe me, they can play with anyone in the Big Eight. And the big challenge will be, can we defend them, because they shoot the ball extremely well. They're shooting 78% from the free throw line, so you certainly don't want to foul them, but they can really hit you from a lot of different areas. It's going to be a real challenge for us defensively, and I think our ball club has great respect for Iowa State. They know it's going to be a tough game.
Offensively, what becomes the most important thing? To get the ball inside the country?
Well, you know, they ran a little bit of a trick defense the last 2 times we played. We call it a triangle and two, where they put an individual on Brooks Thompson, on Randy Rutherford, and then they play a triangle zone. And we're going to have some perimeter shooting from Brendan Manzer or Fred Burley or Keontae or Scott Sutton, somebody else, because when they play that type of defense, it really takes Brooks and Randy out. We're going to try to set some screens for them. But again, you've got to get that ball into the big guy, and if he scores, their defense is going to collapse back, and you're going to get some perimeter shots.
Let me ask you something that I've been meaning to talk to you about. We really haven't had time in previous shows. 4 teams from the Southwest Conference are going to be joining the Big Eight: Texas, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, and Baylor. So with those 4 teams coming aboard, what does that mean to the Big Eight Conference? Is that a good move, do you think?
I think it's a great move. I think we're going to have that will be the best conference in America. It'll challenge the Big Ten or whatever other league you want to compare it with. Not only in basketball, I think it will be that way in all sports: football, baseball, track and field, golf, tennis, women's basketball. It's going to be a terrific league, and I think everybody here at Oklahoma State and everyone in the Big Eight should be excited about it.
Well, I know everybody is pumped up about the Big Eight tournament. Want to wish you guys the best of luck, and hopefully we can get out of there with a tournament title and get a great seed in the NCAA.
Well, I hope so. And, you know, tickets are hard to come by, and we got a lot of fans going up there. But all you fans that are back here, get out and support the state tournaments. There's going to be some great basketball played here in our state this week.
Okay, Coach, thank you. Best of luck to you. Okay. And we'll see you next week right here on The Eddie Sutton Show.